According to stories, the image arrived in Bulusan around 1904, and it was purchased with savings kept in a bamboo alcancia. The donor of the image was said to be the Hermano Mayor at that time, although there are no existing records confirming Eustaquio Futalan as such. There are conflicting stories about the origin of the image. One account claims it came from Samar, while another suggests it came from Legazpi and Albay. Another tale recounts how the images from Alan and Samar were mistakenly switched during delivery, leading to the image meant for Alan being delivered in Bulusan and vice versa. Despite the discrepancies in the stories, it is believed that both images may have come from the same workshop. The stylistic differences between the two images, with the Bulusan image being more refined and meticulously crafted, suggest that the Alan image is older. The Alan image has softer eyes and a raised right arm, while the Bulusan image has fiercer eyes and a raised left arm, making it possibly the first left-handed caballero image of the saint. A possible theory to reconcile the stories is that Bulusan's second caballero image may have been intended for Legazpi but was mistakenly delivered to Alan. The confusion may have arisen from both towns being dedicated to St. James the Greater, with the assumption that the younger town, Alan, needed the image. However, Alan already had a caballero image since 1898. The image was eventually corrected and sent to Bulusan. When the image arrived in Bulusan, it was joyfully paraded around the town plaza by men in procession before settling in Barangay Pactal, in the house of the Futalan family. The story of the image residing with the Futalan family in Pactal may have some truth to it, as historical records indicate the presence of the Futalan family in the barangay. The image was later moved to Madlawon, where it now rests in a chapel for the majority of the year, only being brought to the church for special occasions like the Vespera procession and the feast day. In recent years, it has been brought out as early as July 16th, the first day of the Novena. Unknown to many Bulusanons, what could perhaps be the town's first ever caballero equestrian image of its patron, St. James the Greater, is now venerated in the town of Alan, northern Samar. It crossed the turbulent waters of the Embocadero with the family of Don Lorenzo Gallego from Bulusan, and his wife, Doña Maria Cabahug, her last name hints of a Capul town origin. Don Lorenzo became Alan's third executive, when the town was still known by its old name, La Granja, and in 1898, he donated to their adopted town's parish church, the caballero image from Bulusan. La Granja, like Bulusan, is also a parish dedicated to St. James the Greater. Though younger, it was founded in 1863-1867 in another source, whereas Bulusan was founded as a parish in 1630. There are many versions to how Don Lorenzo's family initially attempted to continue the tradition of bringing the caballero image back to Bulusan despite their permanent residency status in La Granja, and to how Bulusan finally got a new caballero image for the fiesta processions. We will attempt to present a few of them in this write-up. Attempts to continue the tradition. It is said that despite being already residents of La Granja, Don Lorenzo and his family attempted to fulfill what they had been doing since time immemorial, that is, bringing out the caballero image of St. James the Greater for Bulusan's annual town fiesta. Stories tell that for around 2 consecutive years, the family successfully fulfilled their duty. However, on the image's last voyage across the Embocadero, on their journey back to La Granja, they were met by strong Subisco, winds, and great were the perils that they met that day, that they eventually decided not to bring the image back to Bulusan. This may have been what led Don Lorenzo to instead donate the image to the parish church in La Granja. La Granja changed its name to Allen in 1903, and to this day, Alanians still credit Don Lorenzo Gallego as the donor of their patron saint's first ever Caballero image. The parish has commissioned at least 2 other Caballero images since. The Caballero image of the Futalan clan, a study of the town's Padrones de Almas population lists, as well as canonical books like those for baptisms, marriages, and deaths, reveals that majority, if not all, of the Futalans were originally from Kapangyan. Studies are still ongoing on the genealogy of the clan, but a major branch appears to have originated from the union of Inocencio Futalan and Apollonia Fusana, who had at least 8 children. Among their children was Juan Futalan y Fusana, born in 1843, who married Andrea Fugio, and who had at least 9 children. Among their daughters was Marcella Futalan, who eventually married Leandro Lagina. Marcella and Leandro are believed to be the ancestors of the present-day caretakers of the second Caballero image. Eustaquio Futalan is Juan Futalan's younger brother, and he was born around 1845. He was listed as being 30 years of age in the Padrón de Almas of 1875. In 1904 he would have been 59 years of age. He was Marcella's uncle, and it is to him that Bulusan's second Caballero image is credited. It is undetermined as of date whether the Futalans are related to the Gallegos. What we know is that Matea, sister to Marcella Futalan, was first married to Tomas Madrid of La Granja, before she eventually married her second husband, Eustaquio Espera. According to stories, the image came to Bulusan around the year 1904, and that the image was paid for with savings kept in an alcancia, most probably of bamboo, as was the trend back then. It was also said that the image's donor was the Hermano Mayor that time, though there are no extant records showing Eustaquio Futalan as one. There are 2 conflicting stories of where the image came from. One story says it came from Samar. Another says it came from Legazpi and Albay. Another story tells of how the images from Allen and Samar were switched during delivery, such that the one for Allen was delivered in Bulusan, while the one for Bulusan was delivered in Allen. However, this story would also indirectly suggest that the images were from the same workshop. Granted, we set aside the fact that Allen would already have by then a Caballero image, the original image that Don Lorenzo donated to La Granja's parish church in 1898. If we compare the manner and style by which the 2 present-day images were sculpted, they are totally different. They are both on horseback, yes. However, the one in Allen is more on the folksy side, while the one now in Bulusan is more refined, more meticulously done, which suggests that the one in Allen is older, and the one in Bulusan is comparatively newer, though now also more than a century old. The Santiago in Allen has softer eyes, the one in Bulusan has fiercer eyes. The Santiago in Allen has his right arm raised, the one in Bulusan has his left arm raised instead, making it perhaps the first ever left-handed Caballero image of the saint. A theory which may serve to unite both stories could be that Bulusan's second Caballero image could have indeed come by way of Legazpi, but was delivered in error to Allen. Whoever did the delivery might have been confused, since both Bulusan and Allen are towns dedicated to St. James the Greater, and would have reasoned that Allen, being the younger of the 2 towns, would have been the town in need of an image. However, as we know, Alan already has a caballero image since 1898. Thus, despite its remarkable beauty, the Alanians would have of course rejected the delivered new caballero image, and would have corrected the delivery crew and sent them back, across the Embocadero, and then to Bulusan. What was common in the stories was that when the image arrived in Bulusan, it was joyously carried by men in procession around the poblation, and, as some stories also say, the image eventually settled in Barangay Pactal, in the house of the Futalan old folks, in the lot now occupied by the house of Mr. Jose Mendizabal. Now this part about the image residing with the Futalan family in Pactal may actually be true. Though listed under Kapanggihan in 1885, Juan Futalan and Andrea Fugio and their family were listed in the 1893 Padron as residents of the barangay where the mestizo de Sangli, Don Casimiro Garcia, was the cabeza. Don Casimiro and his family were listed in prior years padrones as living in Pactal. Don Casimiro must have initially served as cabeza of Pactal, and eventually of Botnit present-day Central and Lubin. Still residents of Pactal are descendants of Fausto Futalan, son of Juan Futalan y Filo and Florencia Ganantial, and grandson of Don Pantaleon Futalan and Doña Simplicia Filo. Don Pantaleon was first cousins with Marcella Futalan, who married Leandro Lagina.